Yesterday, I introduced you to this AI build out portfolio and then my AI delivery portfolio. And the delivery portfolio, I went a step further and said, what if these stocks continued to grow at the same rate they have over the past 5 years? What would the portfolio be worth? And I came up with something in the neighborhood of $4,714,000,000. And Jude went into the comments and gave me a LOL 2045, basically saying, Kerry, that's ridiculous. And someone else basically said, I'm unsubscribing to your channel because you deal in ridiculous projections. And okay, I can understand that. So I said, maybe I need to do something. Oh, and one other thing. Dylan, Dylan, wrote in under Jude's LOL 45 that he was 29 years old and he was very concerned about 2045, and he thanked me for my projections. So I says I need to give a little more attention to Jude's LOL and say, okay, let's do this on a smaller scale and see what happens. And so what I basically did was I went into CrowdStrike, which was at an 81% growth rate, and brought that down to 40. And now an NOW, that was at, let's see, that was at 100, or NVIDIA was at 100. I brought it down to 40. I brought now down to 33. Symbotics was at 103. I brought that to 30. And Tesla is the one who threw it all out of whack because, again, it at 169%, it grew to a whopping $4 trillion. So I said, no, let's just give Tesla a 45% growth factor and see what happens. And then I said, well, let's bring this into some level of reality. And let's say that you just went arbitrarily and bought these stocks and bought 10 shares of each one of them. And they did grow. Apple did continue its actually, this is less than its 20-year growth, but let's just assume it continued to grow at its 5% rate and against a price today of $230.45. What would it be worth in 5 years? Well, it's $877. How about in 10 years? Well, it's $3,339. Again, in 40, it's going to be 12, and in 45, it's going to be 48,000 a share. That's just math. That's all it is. And all it is if Apple continues to do what it's done in the past. Okay, then you would have, at the end of your 10 shares of Apple would be worth $483,000, okay? And your portfolio, if again, you only own 10 shares, you went out today and you invested $59,240 into these stocks and bought 10 shares of each and then went and did your thing for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, this is what you'd have. At the end of 2045, you're going to have $24,229,000. Now, these aren't dollars that are $2025, but that's how it would grow. And if you added to it, if you diligently bought another 10 shares every year, that would be roughly a 59,000, or here 228. If you bought another 10,000 or some add to it, that's what you're going to end up with. Now, this is just simple math, and I'm sorry, Jude, if you're 82 and you don't have until 2045. But maybe, Jude, you've got a granddaughter or a grandson, or maybe you even have a great-grandson, and you can put aside $59,000 today in their name and make them multimillionaires. That's a choice. Now, the other thing, what if you had a program that you could come in every year and change these numbers and maybe even change these stocks, and you managed it like a stock portfolio based on data rather than on whispers and wishes and hopes? based on data, prior and future and past performance. What if you managed your stock portfolio like a business and you did research, or you had access to research? What if you could go to something like this? Something like this, Kerry's tell sheet, where it gave you all the information and even gave you a deep dive on every one of the stocks, so that at any time you could come in and you could find out what these companies do, what they've been doing, and what they're anticipated to do in the future, so that you could make, get this, an informed investment decision. What if you could do that? What if you had a source that had access to all this data that could make this a reality? What if? Well, that's my task in life. That's my task, to give you the wherewithal to make these informed decisions. That's why I'm buying the high compute power that will make this a reality. And not just on 30, 40, 60 stocks, but on the whole stock market. And you could have access to it for the rest of your life. It's not a promise, for $19.95 a month. Now, if you believe what I'm saying and what I just showed you, and that data is really the pathway to good investment decisions, if you didn't do it, I think that's a laugh out loud, Jude. I think that's a laugh out. If you didn't spend $19.95 to get access to this kind of information, that's a laugh out loud, Jude, in your face. Okay, that's what I enjoy doing, giving you an opportunity to become wealthy. This is it. 10 shares of each of these stocks. If you don't have 59,000, but maybe you got 30,000, then 5 shares. And then you're only going to end up with $12 million. Let's pursue this further. And why don't you go right now to the link in the description so that you can get in on this before the price goes up? Because again, there's going to be a point in which we shut the door and say, we got enough. We got enough people that have faith in what we're doing and want to change their lives. Let's close the door on the bus. Okay, have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you again in the future. And hopefully you'll see the light, Jude, and stop laughing out loud at yourself.